Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my reading catch-up, June week 2. Loads of books. I'm just going to say loads of books. I'm not going to put I've read loads. Loads of books. Nice and short and snappy. Because I have read loads. Somehow, of the other week where I only read 5, I've somehow read 6, 7, 8. But eight books, but one of those is like a really, really short book. And the other couple are quite short. So, kind of don't count. But yeah, I've read lots. But it's been a complete mixed bag, which I will show you. You are going to have pictures at the end of the video because I've not really gone anywhere to do picture kind of things this week. But next week you might. So, let's... Oh, also, next week's video is going to look slightly shorter because I will have to film it on the Wednesday because Thomas has got his sports day on the day that the next week's video is going live, and I've got to work the Thursday, which is my normal day of filming. So I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll just rush and like record after work on Thursday, and then Chris was the sensible one and went, why don't you just record a day early? You lot are not going to mind that it's going to be a little bit shorter and the next one will be a little bit longer. It is what it is, hey? Anyway, I'm rambling as always. Let me show you the books that I'm currently reading. So I'm reading Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I am body reading it with Angela, but I think she probably finished it because we were reading it one chapter a day, and that's actually working for me, but she wanted to rush off and finish it. As to whether I rush off and finish it next week, I don't know. But at the moment, the way my headspace is, it's working out really good to read like a chapter a day. And I'm on reading chapter 12 today. And I think, how many chapters are there? So I'm about halfway through now. So if I maybe I might rush it the next week and read a bit more. But I'm enjoying, considering I DNF'd it the first time, I'm actually enjoying it a lot more this time. And it's a bit sci-fi. I'm dying to know what the mystery element is within it. But I'm actually enjoying it a lot more. And it's about Kathy, Ruth and Tommy, who grew up in a Hailsham, I seemingly idyllic school, but it talks about donations and childhood stuff and like, yeah, it's a bit of a weirdy bits, but I am enjoying it a lot more this time. And it's also being read for the FOMO Book Club, which is hosted by Jem and Jack. I'll link their channels down below. Then, yesterday I picked up, it was yesterday or the day before, it was the day before yesterday, I picked up The Whisperix by The Labyrinth of Lost and Found by Jordan Lees. It's got my beautiful copy. This is one of my joy reading June books, but it's also because the lovely Chatty from the Mad Chatter is hosting like a Discord group, which I don't do Discord, reading this book this month. And I will be finishing this off today. It is actually, I can straight away tell you it's going to be 5 stars, but I'm kind of glad that it'll be going on next week's 5 stars. I could have finished it last night, but I wanted to finish it today. Like, the mood I was in yesterday with everything that's going on this week, like Father's Day approaching and stuff going on in my head. I've got lots of other stuff happening here. My headspace has not been brilliant this week and I'm really struggling to focus, which I will go into detail at the end of the video. But this was just what I felt like reading, and it's a mystery and it's a bit spooky as well, so it's kind of good that I didn't read it too late. About 11-year-old Benjamin Creek, who believes in science, logic and the power of reason. He definitely does not believe in magic, but when he receives a mysterious gift in the post, a doll that can transform into a bird, he's led into the impossible and it seems definitely magical world of Weatherworld, where dark secrets are lost amongst a vast labyrinth of streets. Benjamin soon finds himself swept along this dangerous quest, led by the fierce and brilliant Elizabella, who is determined to solve the disappearance of her missing brother. This is great fun, and it is sugar candy. It's just what I bloody need at the moment. So, thank you, Chatty. I'm glad I joy read this, and I'm glad I'm reading it in June. Then one I am going to start today, so I thought I'd show you anyway. I don't know much about it, but I know that this is historical readathons running over the whole course of the month. I'm not, like I said, I didn't want to set a TBR, but it's being run by the lovely Charlotte from Queenie Reads and Shelley from Shelley's Swell Engine. And basically, this is historical fiction. It looked pretty. I bought it less than a year ago. See, I'm getting better at reading. And about a new century's dawn. I think it's one of the ones that actually Charlotte recommended. It was really, really good. A new century's dawn in Vienna is at its zenith. It's opulent and extravagant city, teeming with art, music and radical ideas. It's a place where anything seems possible. Edith and Adele are sisters, the daughter of a wealthy bourgeois family. They're expected to follow the rules, to marry well and produce children. Gertrude is in a flamboyant older brother, is in thrall to her flamboyant older brother, marked by a traumatic childhood. She envies the freedom he so readily commands. Basically, there's lots of different characters, but it does look brilliantly fun. It looks brilliant. The print's not too big, which I like. And I think it is actually, it was set in some of it's set in 1912. I think it looks like it's set in 1912, so I don't know any more than that. 1968, so it's not as old a historical fiction as I thought. But I'll start that once I've read the Whisperix, and it looks like kind of like what I need at the moment. And then to the book I started last night. It's one of my library books, and it's Honeybee by Dawn Porter. It is mainly about friendships, and again, this is what I need. But I literally nearly fell asleep reading it last night, so I don't know much about it. I know I love Dawn Porter's work. And it's about, for best friends Renee and Flo, adulthood isn't the party they expected. Renee's dreams of being a writer are going nowhere. Flo's hiding a secret shame. They're both failing in work and love. Why did no one warn them? Why does adulthood feel less like freedom and more like a trap? This does look good. It's what I need. I'm going with that. God, I love joy reading. That's another thing. I'm really, really enjoying picking up books that I want to read. Now, obviously, over the last week, we've had Katie's birthday week. So I've read 2 books for Katie's read along. Actually, they're both flops. So I'm sorry, Katie. One book was by Jo Baker, and it's The Midnight News. And it's set in London 1940. Lead character Charlotte, and it talks about as enemy planes fly over the city, 20-year-old Charlotte Richmond is trying to make the best of things. She has a dull but steady job in the Ministry of Information, a friend to share gin and secrets with, and an attic room of her own. But she has to keep her head down because she knows her father will send her if she makes a nuisance to herself again. And I only rated it 2.5 stars. I am so sorry to those of you that love this book. I wanted to love it, but for me, this was a lot about mental health, and if you don't want spoilers, basically wait until I put this book down. But I'm going to give some spoilers now because I think if you want to know the triggers, yeah. Basically, go away now if you don't want to know what this is about. She gets sent to a mental institution, whatever, sanatorium, whatever they called it back in those days. And she's given treatment that I found very, very hard. It's mental health treatment. I found some of the stuff that happened in this very, very traumatic, and that alone was just doing me in. She does hear voices. She has psychosis, hears voices in her head. And it's a lot about mental health and those voices. And I found it very, very triggering, very, very emotional, very, very hard-hitting. It's not so much about the war or the characters of Blitz. It's about this girl and her relationship with her father and things like that. But I'm sorry, it was not for me. I didn't like it. And I'm not going to lend it to Mum, so it's going straight to the charity shop. And then the other book I picked up for Katie's read along was The Mystery of Edwin Drood and Other Stories by Charles Dickens, and it was 3 stars. And again, I just think my head is not in the right place this week to read a classic. I wanted to read it for Katie, and I thought, oh yeah, Charles Dickens. It was just not. I tell you what, I rated it 3 stars, but you asked me much about it, and I couldn't tell you much about it. I did actually like Edwin Drood, and I do think that Katie's right. If this would have been completed, it had potential to be a brilliant book. And I think there's other short stories in this that I didn't connect with because they're too short, and I don't do short stories. But actually, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, I think I want to read that again. So I'm going to keep this because I think I want to reread that again. Because I think actually if I was in a better headspace and not trying to read it all in one go, I have got to work out how I'm going to read my classics, because I thought reading it in one go would work because reading it too little a day wasn't working. I just tried to read in like a day or two, and I tried to push myself and it didn't work. So yeah, sorry Katie, but I'm going to keep that. Then to a book that I joy read, and that was The Trip of a Lifetime by Monica McGarry. It's 3.5 stars, I think I put this. And it's about families, and it's about history, about Lola Quinlan. It does a bit of historical bit in it, because she basically she's off on a trip of her lifetime, taking her beloved granddaughter and great granddaughter with her. And it's after more than 60 years of emigrating to Australia, she has a secret promise to return to Ireland. It's about family. It's a good family sort of saga-y thing. And it's just a really lovely sort of escapism book. Very big, but I flew through it really quickly, so it's quite a good book. Then to the shortest book I read, but again I read it because I felt like it, and this is Coping with Dyspraxia by Jill Eckersley. One of my subscribers recommended this to me, and I'm glad I've read it. For someone that only recently we've worked out that I have had dyspraxia, no, in the last year or two. My other family, I have other family members that have it, and Thomas does. I don't want to talk about Thomas because that's not fair on him. But having his diagnosis this year has meant that I have learnt more about it, and there is bits in this. This is really educational, so I'm going to lend this to my mum and Charlie and other family members who want to borrow it. But it's one I think I'm going to keep as well, because there's different stages that Thomas could be going through that I really want to know how I can help him best. And there's different things that I've had, and yeah, it was really helpful. There was bits in this where I felt seen because of what I've had, battles I've had with my son, like when I've shouted at teachers because like last year he had the year from hell and with his teachers, and they kept saying he was a naughty child and he wasn't settling, he wasn't listening, and he couldn't sit still. And as a mum, I kind of, I found it really hard because I know my child's a good child, and I'm not just saying that because he's mine, but seriously, if you knew all the stuff he's been doing, he's a brilliant, brilliant kid. And I found that like I actually felt seen because I wasn't imagining that why he was struggling with this, and I've learnt a lot, and this was just the extra tool that I needed, so it's the extra tool in my toolbox. So brilliant, loved it. 4 stars because I don't really think you can sort of judge those. But then the books that I could have technically counted for Katie's Readathon, the next 2 could have counted for Katie's Readathon. Actually, the next one couldn't because I don't think I started in time, but this one could. And this is East End Angels by Rosie Henry, because Katie's prompts were to read a historical fiction and to read a classic. So the next 2 are historical fiction, and I think I've pretty much read them both at different points. I can't remember. And I certainly read this one. And this was actually my reread for the month, and it was East End Angels. It's the first in the series by Rosie Henry. Yes, I've read the whole series. Yes, I know what happens to them, who they end up with. It's about Winnie, Bella and Frankie. And they're different stories, and it's set in World War II, and they're like the newest members of Station 75's ambulance crew. And yes, I knew who they were going to end up with, but it was like, I think I rated it like half a star higher, because I rated it 4.5 stars. And I just loved it a lot more this time, because I know what's happening, and I really am going to be rereading the series. I think my plan was to do my rereads this year, and then next year I'm going to start picking up some of the series and just go blitzing a lot of these series, because it's really helped me. And this is a keepy series, so I'm glad I've kept this series, and I'm going to be rereading it, because rereading the whole one. I might actually just gradually start rereading it. I might just pick up the next one when I fancy it. And that's what's the best thing about rereads. Maybe that's another thing I might do a video on, why I'm loving rereads, but this was just what I needed. But Mum's read it, so I'm keeping it. Then to my library start book, I rated it 4.5 stars. It's The Maye by Anne Harrod, Hampshire, which is shortlisted for the Walter Scott Historical Fiction Prize for Historical Fiction. It is 4.5 stars because if I rated it 5, it would be a book that I wanted to keep or reread. This is way too traumatic for me to reread. There is no flipping chance in hell I could cope with reading this again. But if I was going for the writing alone, it'd be 5 stars, because it's an incredible, incredible book. But it is so flipping traumatic. It's set partly in the 1960s, and it's based on a true story, and a lot of it's set in the concentration camps. And the lead character, Hermione Brosdona, was the first person to be extradited from the United States for Nazi war crimes. And she was one of the 1,000 women who worked as a female concentration camp guard. And prisoners nicknamed her the Maye because she kicked people to death. And basically, when the camps were liberated, she escaped and fled back to Vienna. And there years later, she met and fell in love with Russell Ryan, an American man, holidaying in Austria. And they fell in love and married and stuff and moved to New York. And then basically that someone found out who she was, and they began the trials and stuff, and she got sent back. But this is her story from the concentration camps and from when she starts becoming a guard and goes down from there. But it's very traumatic, very hard hitting, but very, very good. Writing's incredible. I've got 2 favourite books, and they're just again what I needed. Mum didn't like this one, Page Tunes, What If I Never Get Over You. I bloody loved it. I actually think, like, I did my Page Tune rating. this is up there with some of my favourites of hers. So some of my favourites by her are, my favourite book by her is Johnny Be Good, and the second favourite is Someone I Used to Know. That's my second favourite. But I actually think some of the more recent ones I've not enjoyed as much. I think last year's one was really good, but then there's been a few that I've not enjoyed as much. But this is her smashing it out of the park, and I absolutely bloody loved it. And it's about Ellie, and it's sort of it's a lot about gardening and stuff, which I kind of loved because it's actually connected to Heidi Swain's book, which is quite funny. Ellie didn't expect to fall in love while travelling in Europe, but she also didn't expect to meet a man like Ash. 3 blistering days in Lisbon are all it takes for them to form a bond. And then Ellie arrives and Ash is nowhere to be found. And then 6 years later, the memory of Ash and their time together still burns deep in Ellie's heart. She hopes that her dream job as a gardener in a growing estate in Wales will bring her the fresh start she needs. And then she suddenly meets Ash again, and that relationship, and it's brilliant. It's a brilliant, feel-good romance. Absolutely loved it. We'll definitely be rereading this, and I cannot wait to read it. It's her at her top best. Bloody loved it. Then to a book which I'm kind of hoping Michelle Harrison. I haven't seen a middle grade book by her for a while, so I know she's got a young children's book that she's got coming out. But this is Twice Upon a Time, and it's Two Sisters, One Crime. I bought it in January, and it's already been read, so I think that was pretty good for me. Or I bought it just after Christmas. Pretty hardback, but the naked bit's not as good. I've kind of got a bit addicted to pretty hardbacks now, haven't I? But this has got a pretty bit. And it's about twin sisters, the Morrow twins, and it's about solving a murder mystery, and about stopping time and fantasy, and a missing woman, a baby left on the doorstep, a locked study. As mysteries pile up, the girls begin to investigate what happened in the past. I absolutely, thoroughly loved it. And it has disability rep in it. Pretty early on it said about the disability rep. So it has tinnitus rep. And that is disability. But it actually handles it brilliantly. It deals with it brilliantly. And I thought this was a fantastic book. And one I thoroughly recommend to every fantasy lover. That's one that Mum's going to be borrowing. So, like I said, my mental health has not been amazing. There's a lot of stuff happening. We all knew this month would be a bit tricky. And I'm going to be gentle on myself. So I've sort of struggled with my focus a bit. So I've decided that because I've struggled to read as much, I decided to start colouring. I'm going to start colouring this weekend. And I've got to get some really pretty colouring pencils and stuff. Because I've always been all about read. For so long, all I've done is read. And I've not had any other hobbies. And I felt guilty if I do anything other than read when I've had a spare moment. But that's going to stop. I'm buying a bit less books. Well, maybe not this month. We're not going to go there. But I don't feel the pressure as much that I have to read as much. Because obviously when you buy loads, I feel like I have to read loads to keep my TBR down. And that's easing off a bit. And I kind of want to do other things. Like I want to do a bit of creativity and have other things on the sideline. So yeah. Vicky's given me this colour book. And I'm going to get some colouring stuff and get my whole kit. And I'm going to do that occasionally. It'll be good, something good to sort of help my mental health, because it used to really help. And on the other thing that happened and that I'm grateful for is that Charlie's given me 4 books. My TBR's not grateful, but I am. Also, it meant that I got a hug off her. So I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'm going to show you one that she's given me. And that is The Ghost Cat by Alex Howard. It's cat in it. 12 decades, 9 lives, 1 cat. I don't want any more than that. It looks pretty. It's Ghost Cat. It's very historical fiction. It's very short and sweet. It's just what I need. So I'm doing things to make me feel better. And I'm trying to think about my emoji. Normally I'd be like planning my emoji. But yeah, I've read lots of books. Just do a book emoji. I've read a lot this week. Why don't you just do a book emoji? I'm not going to stress myself out. I have also, that's another thing I've done for myself. I have also, on a mental health thing, been buying myself some more makeup. And I've started to get addicted to pretty lipsticks. Because that's also been making me smile at the moment. Get myself some pretty things to make me feel a bit happy. But let me know what you've all been reading this week. What kind of things have made you happy. And yeah, I look forward to chatting to you all in the comments. And take care everyone. Bye bye. Oh, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribe, ring on my ding-a-ling. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.